Returning to a tense hotel room, Henry and Wendy faced the fallout of her actions, while Angela offered her father a poignant moment of comfort. However, Wendy's cold ambition to seize Henry's villa soon corrupted Angela's sentiment. Their scheme was abruptly derailed by the arrival of lawyers, who informed Henry the villa was being reclaimed due to his past abuse and a prior agreement. Facing homelessness, Henry insisted they return to California to sell their valuables. At the airport, Wendy's calculated deception unfolded as she abandoned Henry, revealing she'd already arranged to take everything. Her final, cruel words left Henry utterly alone and betrayed. Can Henry recover from this devastating abandonment and his past mistakes? Will Angela grapple with the implications of her mother's actions? And what awaits Wendy now that her ruthless plan has succeeded? Henry must have replayed Wendy's words 1,000 times in his mind. He had done illegal deals, yes, and the threat of Wendy exposing him hung over his head like a guillotine. He was effectively silenced, unable to pursue Angela or Wendy. Wendy, ever pragmatic, hadn't left him completely destitute. A small bag containing his ID and $30,000, a paltry sum compared to the millions she'd absconded with, was her parting shot, a twisted form of gratitude for their years together. Henry stood by the window, watching the California-bound plane disappear into the sky, a profound sense of loss washing over him. He had believed in Wendy's love, had made her wait while he pursued Yvette's fortune, and now he was left with nothing. Driven by a desperate need for retribution, he'd rushed to the ticket counter, intent on following Wendy. But fate, it seemed, had other plans. The next flight was fully booked. A stranger's seemingly chance offer of a cancelled ticket had turned into a cruel con, leaving Henry stranded, penniless, and without identification in a city that suddenly felt hostile. Outside the airport, the con artist, shedding his disguise, made a swift call. "All done, boss." Justin's voice, cold and devoid of emotion, echoed through the phone. "Good, you know the rest. Make him wish he'd never been born." A shiver ran down the con man's spine. "Yes, sir." Justin's eyes burned with a cold, unwavering fury. The fragmented pieces of the past few days, coupled with Cherry's innocent revelations, had finally coalesced into a horrifying truth. Henry hadn't just been a neglectful father. He had been a monster. He had abandoned Pete. The memory of that frantic call, the sliver of doubt that had propelled him to pick up Pete. Pete would be gone if Justin had hesitated, if fear had paralyzed him. Killing Henry would have been too swift, too merciful. Justin's vengeance would be slow, agonizing. For now, Henry was the priority. Justin left the manor, the city lights reflecting in his hard eyes. She must be devastated, he thought. A flicker of something akin to concern for Nora, momentarily softening his gaze. He needed to be there, but before he reached his car, his phone rang again. It was his man at the airport. "Boss," the voice on the other end was low and urgent. "That low-life Henry. He's made more enemies than we thought. I just saw some guys drag him into an alley. They're beating him senseless." Justin's brow arched, a flicker of surprise in his eyes. "And then, they just bundled him into a van and took off. I'm tailing them now. Guess who they are?" "Who?" Justin's impatience grew. The reply was short, chilling. "The Smiths." Even Justin, head of the formidable Hunts, treated the Smiths with a careful respect. A direct confrontation during the Tanya incident had been unthinkable, a breach of unspoken etiquette. He frowned, a new layer of intrigue adding to the situation. Why would the Smiths kidnap Henry? There was no known feud. Could it be? The thought remained unfinished, a dark and unsettling possibility. "Boss?" his subordinate prompted. "Should I intervene? If the Smiths get their hands on him?" A long silence stretched before Justin finally spoke, his voice measured. "Let them go. Let's see what the Smiths have planned." If his hunch was correct, this could be beneficial. Back at the Andersons' mansion, I lay in bed, the quiet of the house a stark contrast to the morning's chaos. But sleep eluded me. Captain Ford's questions about my mother echoed in my mind, a persistent, unsettling hum. Why had she left? Why the sudden silence? I stared at the ceiling, the shadows playing tricks on my tired eyes, the need for answers, a gnawing ache. Peace felt like a distant memory. My phone's insistent ringing shattered the silence. I glanced at the screen. "Lily," I answered, my voice flat. "Have you settled all of your domestic affairs, Athena?" she asked, her tone dry. "Yeah," I replied, the single word carrying the weight of the morning's drama. Only then did Lily's voice shift, a note of excited anticipation entering her tone. "I have some news for you, Athena. Guess what I found out when I was doing the DNA tests?" I got up immediately wondering what it is now that Lily has for me. What is the news Lily has for me? Has she found out who my real father is? Will Henry be spared by the Smiths? And how will Justin play his part in all this mess?
Hi, Nora here. If you are wondering what happens next, then download the Pocket FM app and listen to the exciting episodes of Saving Nora Now with the link in the description.